Good morning, everyone. Raymond R. here, Brooklyn, New York. Reading just for today, November 14th. Just surviving. When we were using, our lives became an exercise in survival. Now we are doing much more living than surviving. Basic text, page 52. I'd be better off dead, a familiar refrain to a practicing addict, and with good reason. All we had to look forward to was more of the same miserable existence. Our hold on life was weak at best. Our emotional decay, our spiritual demise, and the crushing awareness that nothing would ever change were constants. We had little hope and no concept of the life we were missing out on. The resurrection of our emotions, our spirits, and our physical health take time. The more experience we gain in living rather than merely existing, the more we understand how precious and delightful life can be. Traveling, playing with a small child, making love, expanding our intellectual horizons, and forming relationships are all among the endless activities that say I'm alive. We discover so much to cherish and feel grateful to have a second chance. If we had died in active addiction, we had been bitterly deprived of so many of life's joys. Each day we thank a power greater than ourselves for another day clean and another day alive. Just for today, I am grateful to be alive. I will do something today to celebrate. Just for today, November 14th, well, not just surviving. I'm grateful for the life I've been given. I'm grateful for the resurrection emotionally, spiritually, intellectually, financially, relationally. Every area that I've worked this program in, every area that I've practiced these principles in, has experienced an extreme transformation. And so it's the literature is true. We do recover. I would have missed out on so much. So much. I'm wearing a shirt from Puerto Rico. I'm drinking coffee out of a World Convention mug, maybe from Spain. I traveled the world. I've had many birthdays clean, more birthdays clean than I had using. Right? That's an incredible gift. That doesn't happen for everyone. Married over 24 years, raised children, buried loved ones, all types of highs and lows of life that I survived through, that I didn't just get through, I didn't exist, I thrived through because of Narcotics Anonymous, the principles in the program, the fellowship, the examples, the hope. So many wonderful gifts in the program of Narcotics Anonymous and in the fellowship of Narcotics Anonymous. So I'm very grateful that NA has not just saved my life. I didn't have a life really. I was amongst the living dead. But NA gave me a life beyond anything I ever thought or imagined. I never knew life could be so incredible. I never think I'd travel the world. I never think I'd be married. I never thought live long enough to lose my hair, right? And so NA has given me an incredible life, incredible relationships, on and on and on. I can go on. If you ever heard me share at a convention or whatever, I have been thoroughly blessed. I've been overpaid, as my friend from California, Gio, says. I have never imagined a life like this. And I'm just not surviving. I'm living, I'm thriving, I'm growing, I'm ascending, I'm elevating. It's crazy the life that I live. You know, the intellectual horizons, all that I've learned about life, spirituality, love, intimacy, sex, romance, defects, lust, control, insecurities, so many aspects of life that I didn't have no clue upon. And so yes, there's intellectual horizons. You know, I have great relationships with my wife, my children, my grandchildren, friends, my sisters, my nieces, my nephews, my family. Incredible what can happen to a broken, lost individual who used to say, I'd be better off dead. And that's not the case today. And even in recovery, there was times where I wanted to use. I felt like using. I thought about using. I was obsessed. I was just broken. I was hurt, grieving, relationships, whatever it was. I remember having 15 years clean 15 years ago. So I got 30 years clean today. Not today, but I got 30 years and 9 months. So I had 15 years clean. I was going through something in my marriage. We was going through a storm, relationship problems. It was dark. It was rough, and I was so enraged and angry that I couldn't think clearly. So just not that I had so much pain, but I wasn't so enraged that I was my thoughts were not rational, they were not clear, and I just thought about having a drink, just for no reason, not, just out of anger and rage. That was my thought. The disease is an opportunist, try to get me in that moment, and thank God I didn't take that drink because I would have lost on so much in the last 15 years from that moment. When I had 1 year clean, I was going crazy. I was losing my mind. I didn't understand how these emotions were surfacing and where they were coming from. And I was overwhelmed with emotion. And my mental health was very questionable. And I felt like using. And I thought, listen, I wanted, self-medicate. I couldn't accept that this is my reality. I felt like I was losing my mind. I was not in control of my emotions, and the disease was on me. And I felt like using. If I would have used, I would have missed 30 years of all that has taken place. When my son died, the pain was so overwhelming. The pain, the grief, the mourning, the regret, the anger, all the feelings, all the thoughts that come with grieving the loss of a son. My son died of a drug overdose. So it's not just losing a son. If there's people that lose a son in war, and that's horrible and horrendous and painful, but it's honorable the way they lost a son. How you lose someone is a big deal in the grieving process. I lost a son to drug overdose. So there's some shame attached to that. There's some different darkness attached to that. And so someone who loses a son in a war as a hero, someone who loses a son, and now we both got to grieve. We both will never see our sons in this life again. So that's grieving, but it makes grieving different, how you lose. So I was in so much pain, and I was just so dark, and I wanted to use. If I would have used over my son dying, I would have never met my granddaughter. You understand? I lost a second son in a car accident, and that was painful, and it was compounded grief and compounded pain. And man, I lost two boys, and if I would have used during that grief and that loss, I would never met my grandson, and on and on and on. So we go through things, we grow through things, we thrive, we strive. We don't have to just exist. We do recover. And even during the darkest times when I thought I was going to throw in the towel, the fellowship, the literature, the power greater, God of my understanding, kept me, sustained me, and I was able to persevere through those very, very difficult times and experience what's on the other side of that storm, what's on the other side of grief, what's on the other side of pain, what's on the other side of a broken relationship. Everything is better clean. And so I'm just not existing. I'm not settling for mediocrity. I am living an incredible life. I'm living the dream. I'm living beyond my wildest imaginations. I had a spiritual awakening. My spirit is still awakening. It's a lifelong process. I've been restored to sanity, and I'm still being restored to sanity on different levels. I've experienced deep healing in my fourth step, fifth step, a spiritual surgery in my sixth and seventh step, and more freedom in eight and nine, and on and on and on. We are not just surviving today. We are recovering. We are thriving. We are ascending. We are growing. Incredible, miraculous things have happened in my life, and I want more. I'm an addict. I want more. So we say in New York, more meetings, more choices. Less meetings, less choices. No meetings, no choice. More step work, more freedom. Less step work, less freedom. No step work, no freedom. God bless you. Raymond R. from Brooklyn, New York.